Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and welcome to the Sri Vidya Temple's classes in chanting. In the current session, what we're going to focus on is a Namavali, Sri Kamakshi Sahasranamavali. So this is a very somewhat unusual Sahasranama that's not commonly performed or known. But this is what is going to be chanted this Navaratri at the temple during a Vastra Archana. So if you are familiar with Navaratri at the temple that happened last year, for the first time, we did a Vastra Archana, which is offering of a sari to Devi. And last year we did it with Lalita Sahasranama. So there were at least more than 1,000 saris that were offered to Devi, one for each of the names. So this year we'll be doing something similar, but this year we'll be offering the saris with Kamakshi Sahasranama. Okay, so what we're going to do in these sessions is, rather than have it like a class with people repeating, it's going to be more like a practice session where I'm going to repeat each name 3 times, and everyone will be on mute. So you can listen the first 1 or 2 times and then join in yourselves and try to practice the name. So we'll also be recording the sessions and putting them on YouTube so that people can refer to them later as well. Okay, so I want to make sure that we get through enough names, so I'm going to get going. Shruti. All right, so first I'm going to share my screen. And I'm just going to put the English on the screen as a reference. But I did prepare PDFs in other scripts as well. So you can take a look in the Google folder that I linked to in the Telegram group. And hopefully those docs turned out okay. Okay, so this Sahasranama actually also has a Viniyoga and a Nyasam, but I didn't include those here, and I'm not going to go over those because those have the bijas for Panchadashi mantra in them, and because this may be public, I don't want to get into that, so I'll leave that off, and I'll just go quickly through the dhyanam, and then we'll start with the names. First we'll do the Ganapati pair. Om Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashivarnan Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Okay, so for the dhyanam, Lambamane tarakara lalita swarna vigraha. Lambamane tarakara lalita swarna vigraha. Lambamane tarakara lalita swarna vigraha. Next slide. Ambujabjam pratidakshahaste naste bilat bahihi. Ambujabjam pratidakshahaste naste bilat bahihi. Ambujabjam pratidakshahaste naste Te bilat bahihi. Next slide. Kamakshi titviruktai shabdhai dhyatva aikyataha. Kamakshi titviruktai shabdhai dhyatva Tva Aikyataha Kamakshi Kamakshi. Okay, so we'll start with the names. And I'm not going to chant the Om. I'm just going to start with the name itself. Annadhyaye namaha. Annadhyaye namaha. Annadhyaye namaha. And what you can do is if there's any name that seems, especially tricky for you, or you have any questions, just make a note as we go along. After, 40 or 50 names or something like that, I'll pause, and anyone who has any questions on a specific name, we can look at that in a little more detail. Okay, so just please make a note of any names that seem more tricky. And starting now, number 2. Kshama Samhartrye Namaha. Kshama Samhartrye Namaha. Kshama Samhartrye Namaha. Seshaye Namaha. Seshaye Namaha. Seshaye Namaha. Kashyagataye Namaha. Kashyagataye Namaha. Kashyagataye Namaha. Shivaye Namaha. Shivaye Namaha. Shivaye Namaha. Kanchi Nagaryabhimanaye Namaha. Kanchi Nagaryabhimanaye Namaha. Kanchi Nagaryabhimanaye Namaha. Bilantarbahistitaye Namaha. Bilantarbahistitaye Namaha. Bilantarbahistitaye Namaha. Dvibhujaye Namaha. Dvibhujaye Namaha. Dvibhujaye Namaha. Padmahastaye Namaha. Padmahastaye Namaha. Padmahastaye Namaha. Shriye Namaha. Shriye Namaha. Shriye Namaha. Gire Namaha. Gire Namaha. Gire Namaha. Hriye Namaha. Hriye Namaha. Hriye Namaha. Kirtye Namaha. Kirtye Namaha. Kirtye Namaha. Umaye Namaha. Umaye Namaha. Umaye Namaha. Satye Namaha. Satye Namaha. Satye Namaha. Mina Paurnam Yahodvahayai Namaha. Mina Paurnam Yahodvahayai Namaha. Mina Paurnam Yahodvahayai Namaha. So one of the tricks when chanting something, especially if it's not very familiar to you or it's new, is to make sure that you're focusing on holding. One of the benefits of really focusing on holding is that it gives your brain just a little bit of time to catch up with your mouth, and it makes it much easier to continue correctly with the rest of the line or the name. So that's something that helps me a lot when I'm doing something that's kind of new, which this definitely is. Okay, so now number 17. Rakta bija samharinyai namaha. Rakta bija samharinyai namaha. Rakta bija samharinyai namaha. Panchatirtha samipasthayai namaha. Panchatirtha samipasthayai namaha. Panchatirtha samipasthayai namaha. Patakritstanotsavayai namaha. Patakritstanotsavayai namaha. Patakritstanotsavayai namaha. Ratrikanyalankaranayai namaha. Ratrikanyalankaranayai namaha. Ratrikanyalankaranayai namaha. Apakvaphalaharinyai namaha. Apakvaphalaharinyai namaha. Apakvaphalaharinyai namaha. Manushya pratyakshayai namaha. Manushya pratyakshayai namaha. Manushya pratyakshayai namaha. And one other comment I just wanted to make is that I've added dashes or hyphens in a number of places, and that is purely according to the sounds. So just to break them up to make it easier. In some cases, it may be breaking up by word or by grammar, but in other cases where that's not possible, it's just done by sounds. So please don't, look at that as grammar, because it's definitely not in many places. Also, it's important to make sure that even if there's a space or a dash, that we're still linking all the sounds together in one flow and making sure that we apply the correct rules of holding. So we don't ignore holding if there's a dash or a space in between the words. So just wanted to make that clear. All right, so let's go on with number 23. Kanyaka pradayai namaha. Kanyaka pradayai namaha. Kanyaka pradayai namaha. Kanyaka darshana shridayai namaha. Kanyaka darshana shridayai namaha. Kanyaka Darshana Shridayai Namaha. Kanyaka Vardhana Santuštayai Namaha. Kanyaka Vardhana Santuštayai Namaha. Kanyaka Vardhana Santuštayai Namaha. Kanyaka Dana Pushtidayai Namaha. Kanyaka Dana Pushtidayai Namaha. Kanyaka Dana Pushtidayai Namaha. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. I'm going to break this up a little bit because it's a longer one. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya. And now the second part. Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Now the whole nama. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Kanyaka Santatyubhaya Vamshasalokyatānkitājai Namaha. Chaturyuga Prativarsha Pujitājai Namaha. Chaturyuga Prativarsha Pujitājai Namaha. Chaturyuga Prativarsha Pujitājai Namaha. Paramadbhutājai Namaha. Paramadbhutājai Namaha. Paramadbhutājai Namaha. Mesha Paurnam Yarchitangayai Namaha. Mesha Paurnam Yarchitangayai Namaha. Mesha Paurnam Yarchitangayai Namaha. Pallavotsavatoshitāyai Namaha. Pallavotsavatoshitāyai Namaha. Pallavotsavatoshitāyai Namaha. Shitatapajvarahārayai Namaha. Shitatapajvarahārayai Namaha. Shitatapajvarahārayai Namaha. Vrishadolotsavapriyayai Namaha. Vrishadolotsavapriyayai Namaha. Vrishadolotsavapriyayai Namaha. Vaishakha Dharma Santuštājai Namaha. Vaishakha Dharma Santuštājai Namaha. Vaishakha Dharma Santuštājai Namaha. Aihika Mushmika Pradayai Namaha. Aihika Mushmika Pradayai Namaha. Aihika Mushmika Pradayai Namaha. Mithunaikam Rasahita Pujitayai Namaha. Mithunaikam Rasahita Pujitayai Namaha. Mithunaikam Rasahita Pujitayai Namaha. Mithunon Mukhe Namaha. Mithunon Mukhe Namaha. Mithunon Mukhe Namaha. Arkajesha Lingitayai Namaha. Arkajesha Lingitayai Namaha. Arkajesha Lingitayai Namaha. Bilantara Viharinyai Namaha. Bilantara Viharinyai Namaha. Bilantara Viharinyai Namaha. Simhashri Manchashayanayai Namaha. Simhashri Manchashayanayai Namaha. Simhashri Manchashayanayai Namaha. Okay, so that's 40 names. So I just want to pause here and see if anyone has any questions about the names that we've done so far. Okay.
The second name, Kshama Samhatriye, right? That's how you said that. Can you just?
Sure. So this is Kshama,
Kshama.
and then Samhatriye. Hartriye. So it's like an Hartry. So depending on the script that you're using, like if you're looking at Devanagari, it's very hard to see all of the sounds that are in that syllable, but it's Samhatriye. Hartriye. Okay.
Okay.
Hartriye. So I'll say the full name. Kshama Samhartriye Namaha. Kshama Samhartriye Namaha. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Amma?
And also, if anybody, sorry, is anyone asking a question?
Yes, Amma.
Hi, Amma.
The second, Namaskaram, Amma. The second line of the Dhyanam, can you repeat it, Amma, please?
Sure. You mean this Ambujabjam? That one? Oh, yeah, this one's a little tricky. Kamakshi Titviruktai Shabdai Dhyatva Aikyataha. Kamakshi Titviruktai Shabdai Dhyatva Aikyataha. Okay. Is
So
that
Shabdai, you don't say Shabdahi. You just say Shabdai.
You know, it's a good question because normally, so I think maybe different forms of Sanskrit or at different times in history, there may have been different rules of Sandhi. So normally this would be Shabdair Dhyatva. The Visarga in Shabdaihi would turn into a R sound.
Yes.
But here, because it's not given that way, I'm not, you know, you have a choice. You can pronounce it kind of like Shabdai Dhyatva, or you can say shabdaihi dhyatva. So you can kind of do it either way.
And then the 27th sloka, Amma, can you please repeat?
The 27th nama. Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah, that's a long one. Okay, let me just. Okay. Kanyaka santatyubhaya vamshasalokyatankitāyai namaha. Is there any particular part of it that you're finding more tricky? Like the santatyubhaya?
Yes, Amma, Santatyubhaya.
Okay, so if we look at that one, san, tat, yu, bha, ya. Okay, so those are the sounds. And then when we put it together, santatyubhaya,
Okay.
santatyubhaya, santatyubhaya.
Sandhyat tube. It'll become tubaya, right?
Yeah, tyu,
Tubaya.
bha, ya. Santatyubhaya.
Okay.
If it helps you, you can think of it, think of a dash in here. So you're just saying san tat yubhaya.
Okay.
San tat yubhaya. Okay, so I'll just do from Kanyaka to the end of here a few times. Kanyaka santatyubhaya. Kanyaka santatyubhaya. Kanyaka santatyubhaya. Kanyaka santatyubhaya. Okay, is it more clear now?
Yes, Amma. Yes, Amma. Thank
Okay,
you.
so sure. So now I'll do the full name. Kanyaka santatyubhaya vamshasalokyatankitāyai namaha. Okay. Any other questions?
No, Amma. Thank you, Amma. Thank you.
Sure. And also just to let everyone know if you can also, if you want to get feedback on your chanting, you can also chant one of the names to see if you're doing it correctly. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but that's also an option if that's helpful to you. Okay, any other questions on any other names? Okay. All right, so then we'll go ahead. This is very good progress. Okay, so we'll start with 41. Ardhanarishvarakrutaye namaha. Ardhanarishvarakrutaye namaha. Ardhanarishvarakrutaye namaha. Kanyayai namaha. Kanyayai namaha. Kanyayai namaha. Sri Yajnavarayai namaha. Sri Yajnavarayai namaha. Sri Yajnavarayai namaha. Tripurayai namaha. Tripurayai namaha. Tripurayai namaha. Pujyayai namaha. Pujyayai namaha. Pujyayai namaha. Dolotsavapriyayai namaha. Dolotsavapriyayai namaha. Dolotsavapriyayai namaha. Umamaheshvarakarayai namaha. Umamaheshvarakarayai Maheshwarakaraye Namaha. Uma Maheshwarakaraye Namaha. Vimanatrayarupanyai Namaha. Vimanatrayarupanyai Namaha. Vimanatrayarupanyai Namaha. Tulamasotsavānandāyai Namaha. Tulamasotsavānandāyai Namaha. Tulamasotsavānandāyai Namaha. Paurnami Deepikarchitayai Namaha. Paurnami Deepikarchitayai Namaha. Paurnami Deepikarchitayai Namaha. Kritikaradhananandayai Namaha. Kritikaradhananandayai Namaha. Kritikaradhananandayai Namaha. Artra Chitranna Bhojanayai Namaha. Artra Chitranna Bhojanayai Namaha. Artra Chitranna Bhojanayai Namaha. Ashvikaradhanotsukaye Namaha. Ashvikaradhanotsukaye Namaha. Ashvikaradhanotsukaye Namaha. Ghrutahoma Supushtidaye Namaha. Ghrutahoma Supushtidaye Namaha. Ghrutahoma Supushtidaye Namaha. Ghrutaabhyangana Shuddhaye Namaha. Ghrutaabhyangana Shuddhaye Namaha. Ghrutaabhyangana Shuddhaye Namaha. Shadrasanna Subhojanaye Namaha. Shadrasanna Subhojanaye Namaha. Shadrasanna Subhojanaye Namaha. Dhanurmudgana Santushtaye Namaha. Dhanurmudgana Santushtaye Namaha. Dhanurmudgana Santushtaye Namaha. Papakarma Vinashinyai Namaha. Papakarma Vinashinyai Namaha. Papakarma Vinashinyai Namaha. Makare Kambu Samyuktaye Namaha. Makare Kambu Samyuktaye Namaha. Makare Kambu Samyuktaye Namaha. Madhusnana Sunirmalaye Namaha. Madhusnanasunirmalayai namaha. Madhusnanasunirmalayai namaha. Kumbhaganga snanashuddhayai namaha. Kumbhaganga snanashuddhayai namaha. Kumbhaganga snanashuddhayai namaha. Shivaratri-phalapradayai namaha. Shivaratri-phalapradayai namaha. Shivaratri-phalapradayai namaha. Arunayai namaha. Arunayai namaha. Arunayai namaha. Suryarupayai namaha. Suryarupayai namaha. Suryarupayai namaha. Vedangayai namaha. Vedangayai namaha. Vedangayai namaha. Bhanusamyikayai namaha. Bhanusamyikayai namaha. Bhanusamyikayai namaha. Upendrayai namaha. Upendrayai namaha. Upendrayai namaha. Ravisachayayai namaha. Ravisachayayai namaha. Ravisachayayai namaha. Gabhikshayavriddhidayai namaha. I'm going to break this down a little bit. Gabhasthikshaya, Gabhasthikshaya, Gabhasthikshaya. Vriddhidayai namaha. Vriddhidayai namaha. Vriddhidayai namaha. Now the whole one. Gabhasthikshaya vriddhidayai namaha. Gabhasthikshaya vriddhidayai namaha. Gabhasthikshaya vriddhidayai namaha. Suvarnavarnayai namaha. Suvarnavarnayai namaha. Suvarnavarnayai namaha. Jnanakhayai namaha. Jnanakhayai namaha. Jnanakhayai namaha. Nityayai namaha. Nityayai namaha. Nityayai namaha. Saukhayai namaha. Saukhayai namaha. Saukhayai namaha. Vaishnavyai namaha. Vaishnavyai namaha. Vaishnavyai namaha. Dvadashasvartitayai namaha. Dvadashasvarchitayai namaha. Dvadashasvarchitayai namaha. Kakyayai namaha. Kakyayai namaha. Kakyayai namaha. So in this document, which was originally encoded by Sri Ramesh Kuttikad, who is a Sri Vidya Upasaka and scholar. So there's a number of names where he has something in parentheses after the main name. You don't need to pronounce this. This is just meant to give a little bit of the like the linguistic derivation of the name. So here he's indicating that this is coming from ka plus akyaye namaha. So it's pronounced as ka kyaye namaha, but this is just giving some of the meaning that it's coming from ka and ma, which is referring to the fact that, we call her as Kamakshi, and we can think of that as Kama plus Akshi, or eyes of love, or eyes with desires. But there's another way of thinking of that name where Ka represents Saraswati, Ma represents Lakshmi. And so we say that Saraswati and Lakshmi have taken up residence in her eyes. Okay, so you don't need to chant this, but it's just giving a little bit of the meaning behind it. Okay, so I'll go again from 76. Kakyayai namaha. Kakyayai namaha. Kakyayai namaha. Makyayai namaha. Makyayai namaha. Makyayai namaha. Akshitvayahvayayai namaha. Akshitvayahvayayai namaha. Akshitvayahvayayai namaha. This name might need a little bit more practice because it has a part where there's holding on the H, holding on the ich after a dirgha. So this is definitely challenging to pronounce. Yahva, Yahva. Okay, so you can just practice a little bit on holding on the ich sound. Okay, so now 79. Chedaknikondajayai namaha. Chedaknikondajayai namaha. Chedaknikondajayai namaha. Devakaryodhyuktayai namaha. Devakaryodhyuktayai namaha. Devakaryodhyuktayai namaha. Okay, so that's, we've reached to number 80. So I want to pause again and see if anyone has any questions about any of the names. Okay, sounds like everyone is all good. So I'm going to go on to make sure that we have a good pace. Hitaishinyai namaha. Hitaishinyai namaha. Hitaishinyai namaha. Krodhankushayai namaha. Krodhankushayai namaha. Krodhankushayai namaha. Ragapashayai namaha. Ragapashayai namaha. Ragapashayai namaha. Manase Kshudhanurdharayai Namaha. Manase Kshudhanurdharayai Namaha. Manase Kshudhanurdharayai Namaha. Svabimbayai Namaha. Svabimbayai Namaha. Svabimbayai Namaha. Shri Chakradehayai Namaha. Shri Chakradehayai Namaha. Shri Chakradehayai Namaha. Bhaginyantaratejasayai Namaha. Bhaginyantaratejasayai Namaha. Bhaginyantaratejasayai Namaha. Shri Gandhatailangabhushayai Namaha. Shri Gandhatailangabhushayai Namaha. Shri Gandhatailangabhushayai Namaha. Gandhadvaranuvashyadayai Namaha. Gandhadvaranuvashyadayai Namaha. Gandhadvaranuvashyadayai Namaha. Duradharshayai Namaha. Duradharshayai Namaha. Duradharshayai Namaha. Siddhamurtaye Namaha. Siddhamurtaye Namaha. Siddhamurtaye Namaha. Sarvabhutaganeshwaryai Namaha. Sarvabhutaganeshwaryai Namaha. Sarvabhutaganeshwaryai Namaha. Salakshanashvalakshmidayai Namaha. Salakshanashvalakshmidayai Namaha. Salakshanashvalakshmidayai Namaha. Gajalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Gajalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Gajalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Sugolakshmi Pradayai Namaha. Sugolakshmi Pradayai Namaha. Sugolakshmi Pradayai Namaha. Bhasvatdhanalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Bhasvatdhanalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Bhasvatdhanalakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Samruddha Dhanyalakshmi Dayai Namaha. Samruddha Dhanyalakshmi Dayai Namaha. Samruddha Dhanyalakshmi Dayai Namaha. In this name, just be clear, this is not Samrud. This ru is a vowel, so there's no holding here. So it's just Samruddha. Samruddha. Okay, just wanted to point that out because in some of the scripts, it's hard to tell that this is the R vowel instead of the R consonant. Okay, so now we'll go on with number 98. Jaya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Jaya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Jaya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Veera Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Veera Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Veera Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Dhairya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Dhairya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Dhairya Lakshmi Pradayanyai Namaha. Mahasamrajya Lakshmi Dayanyai Namaha. Mahasamrajya Lakshmi Dayanyai Namaha. Mahasamrajya Lakshmi Dayanyai Namaha. Navanarghya Nidhidayai Namaha. Navanarghya Nidhidayai Namaha. Navanarghya Nidhidayai Namaha. Chandah Paramparayai Namaha. Chandah Paramparayai Namaha. Chandah Paramparayai Namaha. Kalyai Namaha. Kalyai Namaha. Kalyai Namaha. Lakshmyai Namaha. Lakshmyai Namaha. Lakshmyai Namaha. Saraswatyai Namaha. Saraswatyai Namaha. Saraswatyai Namaha. Ananta Guna Sampannayai Namaha. Ananta Guna Sampannayai Namaha. Ananta Guna Sampannayai Namaha. Anandayai Namaha. Anandayai Namaha. Anandayai Namaha. Anandadayanyai Namaha. Anandadayanyai Namaha. Anandadayanyai Namaha. Idayai Namaha. Idayai Namaha. Idayai Namaha. Tripurayai Namaha. Tripurayai Namaha. Tripurayai Namaha. Ishanayai Namaha. Ishanayai Namaha. Ishanayai Namaha. Udarayai Namaha. Udarayai Namaha. Udarayai Namaha. Urjita Prabhayai Namaha. Urjita Prabhayai Namaha. Urjita Prabhayai Namaha. Buddhidayai Namaha. Buddhidayai Namaha. Buddhidayai Namaha. Jakshaharinyai namaha. Jakshaharinyai namaha. Jakshaharinyai namaha. Lotantyai namaha. Lotantyai namaha. Lotantyai namaha. I just want to point out something about name number 117 and also number 120. If you look at these names in the Sanskrit documents.org site, they have this as the L vowel and this also as the dirgha form of the L vowel. But in the document that the temple itself is working with, this is spelled rather as the L consonant with the U vowel, or the L consonant with the U vowel. And I believe that is the correct version. So if you're looking at the Sanskrit documents.org site, just be aware that that seems to be like an issue with the coding that was done. So that's what I believe happened there. Okay, so going on with number 118. Bhaktavatsalaye namaha. Bhaktavatsalaye namaha. Bhaktavatsalaye namaha. Satjanaye namaha. Satjanaye namaha. Satjanaye namaha. Okay, this next one is a rather long one, so I'm going to break it up. Luna Brahmarshi Devari. Luna Brahmarshi Devari. Luna Brahmarshi Devari. Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Now the full name. Luna Brahmarshi Devari Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Luna Brahmarshi Devari Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Luna Brahmarshi Devari Mukhyardhita Darshanayai namaha. Okay, so that's 120. We've done another 40. So I just want to check if anyone has any questions. Okay, seems like everyone is all good. So I'll go on and let's see, it's 11:05. So we actually started a few minutes after 10. So I'm just going to do maybe 20 or 30 more. Okay. Airavatarchitapadaye namaha. Airavatarchitapadaye namaha. Airavatarchitapadaye namaha. Omkara madhya vikrahayai namaha. Omkara madhya vikrahayai namaha. Omkara madhya vikrahayai namaha. Audasinyaharaye namaha. Audasinyaharaye namaha. Audasinyaharaye namaha. Ambaye namaha. Ambayai Namaha. Ambayai Namaha. Astapurvatripādukājai Namaha. Astapurvatripādukājai Namaha. Astapurvatripādukājai Namaha. Dharminyai Namaha. Dharminyai Namaha. Dharminyai Namaha. Dharanignantyai Namaha. Dharanignantyai Namaha. Dharanignantyai Namaha. Ganekshayai Namaha. Ganekshayai Namaha. Ganekshayai Namaha. Ghanacharinyai Namaha. Ghanacharinyai Namaha. Ghanacharinyai Namaha. Sharngasavyakarabhayai Namaha. Sharngasavyakarabhayai Namaha. Sharngasavyakarabhayai Namaha. Chaladbarnakarabhayai Namaha. Chaladbarnakarabhayai Namaha. Chaladbarnakarabhayai Namaha. Padmachandananetrabhayai Namaha. Padmachandananetrabhayai Namaha. Padmachandananetrabhayai Namaha. Jnananandavardhanayai Namaha. Jnananandavardhanayai Namaha. Jnananandavardhanayai Namaha. Jhashakshyai Namaha. Jhashakshyai Namaha. Jhashakshyai Namaha. Aganyacharitaयै Namaha. Aganyacharitaयै Namaha. Aganyacharitaयै Namaha. Satkartakshayai Namaha. Satkartakshayai Namaha. Satkartakshayai Namaha. Vanartanayai Namaha. Vanartanayai Namaha. Vanartanayai Namaha. Vanasthayokya-suddhyatayai Namaha. Vanasthayokya-suddhyatayai Namaha. Vanasthayokya-suddhyatayai Namaha. Garudarchitapadukayai Namaha. Garudarchitapadukayai Namaha. Garudarchitapadukayai Namaha. Vedamanayai Namaha. Vedamanayai Namaha. Vedamanayai Namaha. Ardhakasthayai Namaha. Ardhakasthayai namaha. Ardhakasthayai namaha. Garnanakyayai namaha. Garnanakyayai namaha. Garnanakyayai namaha. Virajitayai namaha. Virajitayai namaha. Virajitayai namaha. Tarunangayai namaha. Tarunangayai namaha. Tarunangayai namaha. Satyakathayai namaha. Satyakathayai namaha. Satyakathayai namaha. Dayapurnayai namaha. Dayapurnayai namaha. Dayapurnayai namaha. Dharayai namaha. Dharayai namaha. Dharayai namaha. Vanayai namaha. Vanayai namaha. Vanayai namaha. Paramarnumayayai namaha. Paramarnumayayai namaha. Paramarnumayayai namaha. Ashesha Paniratna Vibhushitayai namaha. Ashesha Paniratna Vibhushitayai namaha. Ashesha Paniratna Vibhushitayai namaha. Okay, so I'll stop with 150 names. So I just want to see if anyone has any questions on any names that we did today. Okay, seems like everyone is all clear. Okay, so we'll end the class there. So I think we made 150 names in one session, and it took about an hour if you look at just the time that we spent on the actual names. So that's really good. And hopefully it wasn't too fast or too slow. So you can let me know about the pace. Okay, thank you, Amma. And actually, like once I'm assuming it's going to be put on YouTube. So once it's put on YouTube, you can actually use, if you go to the little gear icon, you can change the speed. You can speed it up or you can slow it down. So that's one useful thing about YouTube. So if anybody wants to practice at a different pace, they can always go to the recording on YouTube and take a look at it there. So we'll end the class now. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thanks very much for joining, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.